Hello and welcome to episode number 234 of the Launch Lounge podcast. Today I'm sharing something that has completely changed my content creation game. My exact system for creating a month's worth of content in just 8 hours using AI. If you've ever felt overwhelmed by the constant need to create fresh content or wondered how to use AI tools effectively without losing your authentic voice, this episode is going to be a game changer for you, so stay tuned. Hello, everyone, and welcome. Happy New Year. I'm saying Happy New Year because I guess by the time you listen to it, it might already be the 1st of January, even though this episode is going out on the 31st. I hope that you have a lovely evening tonight. I hope that either you have a giant party or you're like me, you're just going to go to bed and get 8 hours of sleep and wake up in the new year. Whatever you're doing, I hope that 2025 is a beautiful year for you and a profitable year for your business. I have spent the last few days lounging around the house watching lots of TV, and I did go and see Robbie Williams' movie Better Man. And if you are a fan of musical theater, if you are a fan of Robbie Williams, or if you're just a fan of good movies, the movie's kind of similar to The Greatest Showman, and it's directed by the same guy. So if you haven't seen Better Man yet, I highly recommend it. And also watched some TV. I watched Bad Sisters. I binged both seasons. It's so good. But today we are talking about AI, and we are talking about how I have narrowed down and chopped down my hours in terms of content creation to simple 8 hours to create an entire month's worth of content. I'm talking podcast content, video content that gets chopped up into little bits that goes out on social media, and then also the emails that go out to my email list. And it was only literally, I want to say maybe 3 months ago, but definitely no longer than 8 months ago, when I was spending hours every week trying to keep up with the constant content monster that needs to be fed. So between client calls, running my business, and trying to maintain some semblance of work-life balance, I felt like I was always playing catch up with my content calendar. I wonder if you can relate to that. And that's when I started experimenting with AI tools. And your girl's already an ad geek, so none of you would be surprised to find out that I'm also an AI geek, and I just really, really love these tools, and I love what they allow us to do. And what I've discovered has completely transformed my entire workflow, and I had to kind of paste a whole bunch of different tools together to make it work for me. But I'm going to share with you today my system that lets me batch create an entire month's worth of content in just one day. So today I'm pulling back the curtain and showing you exactly how I use different AI tools together to create authentic, engaging content that resonates with my ideal customer, which is you. And I'm so happy that you're here and that you're listening to me today. You'll hear my 3-step system for content planning, content creation, and repurposing, plus the specific AI tool I use for each step, because I use different tools at each step. And by the end of this episode, you'll have a clear roadmap for implementing the system into your own business. AI is not replacing authenticity. It is amplifying it. The creators who understand this are the ones who are going to thrive with AI and content creation in 2025. So let's kick off and talk about content planning with AI. And let me walk you through my own process that I use using 2 different tools. One is Perplexity. It is an AI research tool, and the other one is Notebook LM. And I use Notebook LM for pattern recognition in my own content. So let me start with Perplexity. What I love about Perplexity is kind of like an AI search engine. You can ask Perplexity anything about anything where there is information about available on the internet. Now, you might be thinking, yeah, we've been doing that with Google for yonkers of years, but it's not quite the same because when you search for something in Google, you get a bunch of links to a bunch of websites that may or may not be kind of related to what you're looking for. Whereas with Perplexity, it summarizes the main ideas that it found on the internet and it cites sources. So you can actually search for topics that you think your ideal customer might be searching for. And you might even come across some of your own work if you've built up a body of work, or you might come across some of the industry leaders' work, or you might come across some of your competitors' work. And Perplexity is a really, really helpful to get under the skin of your ideal customer, to understand what they're asking and what they're thinking about. And I want you to sign up for Perplexity. You don't need the paid account. You can just use the free account and then just go into Perplexity and ask Perplexity, describe your ideal customer to Perplexity, and then ask, what are they asking, or what are they listening to? What podcasts are they listening to? Uh, what are they asking? What questions do they have? What are they curious about? Which websites are they going to? And see what Perplexity comes up with, because you'll get a ton of ideas from that for your content creation. You'll get a ton of ideas for what's already working so that you don't have to start from scratch and come up with ideas for content that you're not sure if that's really going to hit the mark with your ideal customer. You can really cut right down to what your ideal customer wants and what they're already searching for using Perplexity. Now, the other tool that I use for research and pattern recognition is Notebook LM. And what I love about Notebook LM is kind of the opposite of Perplexity in that Notebook LM is a closed system. So Notebook LM does not use sources that you didn't give it, right? So what I've done is I have uploaded all 334 or 333 episodes of the Launch Lounge podcast into Notebook LM. And then I've asked Notebook LM, what patterns do you see in the content that I create? In the content that I speak about often, do you see any models? Do you see any systems that I have created that I've never even realized is a system, but because I talk about it over and over and over, and because I teach it over and over and over, it has to be a system, even if I've never called it that, or even if I've not even recognized it as that myself. So I have uploaded years and years and years of recorded Q&A calls, recorded sales calls, recorded podcasts, all of my content. And then I've gone to Notebook and said, help me design models around this. And I absolutely love how Notebook is helping me take my own content and simplify it, take my own content and turn it into recognizable patterns. And you may have heard over the last few episodes, I have talked a lot more about some of these models, some of the Venn diagrams, and some of the models that I have created. You might have heard of the trilogy of traffic. That's one of them. It's something I teach over and over and over, but I never recognized that I'm always linking these three things together when I'm talking about profitable ads, and Notebook LM helped me identify that. The other part that I did was I uploaded a very detailed profile of my ideal customer, and I actually divided my ideal customer into three different avatars. So I have an avatar for newbies, for complete new people who are brand new to building audiences, brand new to making offers, and learning how to run ads, to build their email lists, learning how to get those first sales, learning how to get to that first 10K. Then I have an avatar for people who are already almost hitting the 100K mark, and they are looking for ways to understand how to increase their profitability. They're looking for data analysis and understanding their funnels, and ways that they can simplify things and really understand those conversion rates in their numbers so that they can increase profit and work less. And then the third avatar that I have is really looking to scale their business and build their team. And they're usually the avatar that works with us in the agency. So I could identify these three ideal customers. Now, these three ideal customers have some things in common, right? Most of them are women. They're usually women. They're usually around 45 of years of age. They've often been in business for 2 years or more, because that's usually where they find me, is when they've been trying to do this for about 2 years. And they have similar family structures, and they shop at similar stores, and they have similar values. But in terms of their pain points and their desires, they actually have quite different needs. So I uploaded these three ideal customers, and I asked it to help me match my offers to my ideal customers. And if you didn't listen to episode number 228, episode number 228 is called AI Said I Was Selling the Wrong Thing and It Was Right. In that episode, I unpack the entire process that I went through with my ideal customer avatars and my offers, and how Notebook LM was able to help me identify that I had actually been matching the wrong pain points and the wrong desires to certain offers. And I needed to make some shifts there. I needed to make some changes. It was right. I was actually creating an offer based on what I thought my ideal customer wanted, instead of creating an offer based on what that specific avatar was already saying they want and they need. So I used Notebook LM really effectively for that. And every time before I sit down and start creating a new podcast episode, I go to Notebook LM and I say, I have an idea for a podcast. This is what I want to create. Tell me what I've already said about this. And then Notebook would search through all 300 and 230 odd episodes and give me bullet points of what I've already said on the topic, which usually sparks an idea for me for a new way that I can say something that's universal, something that's always going to be true. So that's really helping me. If today's episode helped you, imagine how many more lives could be transformed if other creators, coaches, and experts found these strategies too. Your shares and reviews help more course creators discover how to get their knowledge out into the world. Please take a moment to rate the show and leave a quick review. When you do, we get to reach more people and we make a bigger impact together. Because when more people who help people succeed, the world becomes a better place. Thank you. So if you're creating the same content for different customer avatars, you're not scaling, right? You're just shouting louder. So upload your customer avatars into a tool like Notebook LM. Ask Notebook to help you develop models and design patterns or recognize patterns. Upload your sales calls and identify how you can improve on your sales calls. Upload sales calls and ask Notebook to help you identify the objections that you may have missed while you were in the call. You can upload your group coaching calls and ask it to help you identify patterns in the questions that your ideal customer or that your students, your existing students, are already asking all the time, and then use that for content. And then the other one that I am loving is I have asked it, what stories do I tell over and over that is part of my brand? And it actually filters through all of my podcast episodes and it gives me a list of the stories that I have shared that I can now say is part of my brand. It's my origin story or it's my brand story. And that story usually is some kind of a metaphor, or it is a part of my story that my ideal customer will relate to. So what I want you to take away from this is that your best content ideas are not hiding in competitor research or trending topics. They're buried in the conversations you're already having with your existing customers. And it can be easy to mine your existing content for ideas that are already existing, already in your content, if you know how to use something like Notebook LM. The key here is letting AI help you understand what your audience truly wants to hear about and what you're already talking about so that you can repeat that with different examples, different stories, and creating models that they can understand. The second part of this process is the content creation workflow. So for this, I go to Claude. I love Claude. Claude is like my work AI boyfriend because Claude is a really, really, really good communicator and a really, really good project manager and a really good copywriter. One of my favorite things about Claude that makes it different from a tool like ChatGPT is that I can create projects. Now, projects are just a bit like folders. If you've ever been inside ChatGPT and searched for a conversation you had a month ago or even a week ago or maybe yesterday, and you're just not finding it, it's because it's all buried in a waterfall of searches and queries. But with Claude, you can create projects, and each project contains artifacts. Now, artifacts are preloaded content structures or information you can reference in each conversation. So, the way that I use Claude is I've created different projects for different parts of my content creation. So, let's say, for example, I have a project inside Claude called Podcast Content Preparation. And in that project, I have artifacts for my ideal customers. I have artifacts for the outline of my bullet points for these podcasts that I record so that I can then go to Claude and say, I have an idea for a podcast. These are the bullet points. This is the ideal customer. Please help me flesh out the script. And Claude would then refer to the ideal customer that I want to use. It would refer to the structure of the show, the show run, the show structure, and it would give me a script based on what I have given it. So Claude could use my copy voice guide. It could reference those brand stories that I've uploaded. It could use the structure and the layout of the show notes. It could use the structure and the layout of emails that goes out. It could use the structure of the script that I use. It could use the same content, or it could use circle through different pieces. And in each new prompt, I could tell it which pieces I wanted to reference, which of those artifacts are the preloaded content or pre-designed information that I want Claude to rely on, to refer to give me what I need. It means you don't have to build massive, massive prompts every time because Claude already has within this project some form of memory that you can then just reuse. Now, you might be wondering, but if I'm using AI to do all of that, how am I maintaining authenticity? How is this still sounding like me? And here's how. You have to create content in your own voice first. I feel very lucky that I already had years of content. I have over 500 hours of Q&A calls with my students that I have saved. I have sessions with clients from over 7 years that I have saved. I have podcast content for days. I have so much content that was created in my own voice, not with AI. And I say that I'm lucky because I realize that I have a body of work that I can upload and I can just ask AI to help me write a copy voice guide based on how I speak or based on how I write. And the AI helps me identify that, and it helps me build that copy voice guide and those brand stories and those models and things that are already in my voice, and I can upload that guide then to Claude as one of these artifacts and say, well, just use my copy voice guide when you write this. So it would write in my voice. Now, sometimes it doesn't get it right. I edit everything at least 2 or 3 times, right? Everything gets edited. And often I would start when I'm asking Claude to help me create content. I would start with a story that comes out of my head. That's something that happened in the last few days. And then I would ask Claude to help me link that to the message or link that to the content that I want to talk about. And it would come up with ideas. And sometimes the ideas are ridiculous, but other times the ideas work. One of the examples I want to share with you is at one point, I did upload a list of popular culture references that I said, these are popular culture references that I think my ideal customer will associate with and my ideal customer will enjoy because I know how old she is, because I know her values, because I know what she watches on TV. I think most of the things, like a lot of them were TV shows from the late 80s, 90s, maybe the early 2000s. And what I found is Claude ended up giving me Friends references or Sex in the City references constantly. It's the only 2 shows. And I was later like, no more Friends, no more Sex in the City, please. We don't want any of that anymore. When you're using AI as your creative partner, that is what it is. It is your creative partner. It is not replacing your voice, but be clever in how you give it your voice and let AI help you identify how to sound like you and how to pull out of your content what's already hiding right there for you in plain sight. So step number 1 was use Perplexity to do research on what your ideal customer is already looking for. Step number 2 is upload all of your existing content to Notebook LM and have Notebook pull out patterns and pull out content that you're already sharing and that's already working. And then step number 3 is use Claude to create projects and upload artifacts and let Claude help you create scripts. And I'll give you one little tip that I have found incredibly useful. Once I have my outline for a podcast episode, I would ask Claude, can you please take this outline and give me social media one-liners? Just give me good hooks that will challenge beliefs and that will grab the attention of my ideal customer, and tell me also where you would insert this in my podcast episode. And I've already delivered about 5 of those in this episode alone. I wonder, now you're not listening to me anymore. Now you're just going to listen for these one-liners, right? But the beauty of this is I then take the recording or the video that I record this on, which I record on Riverside, which is another AI tool, by the way. So I would record on Riverside and then I would chop it up into tiny little pieces using CapCut. I find CapCut works better for chopping large videos into smaller pieces of content. But because I have those one-liners, it's then much easier for CapCut to actually identify snippets from the episode that is catchy and that will really work well on social media. So that's the next step, is tools and implementation, right? So I want you to remember that AI tools are like ingredients in your kitchen, right? Alone, they're just ingredients. But when you know how to combine them, you can create something that is truly uniquely yours. And that's why I'm giving you all these Perplexity and Notebook and Claude and ChatGPT, and I'll tell you about how I use CapCut and Midjourney, and there's so many different tools that I'm using, and I'm just loving it all. So I said I'll tell you how I use Midjourney. So Midjourney is an image creation tool, and I sometimes like to just add a little visual effect to my emails. So I would add a visual to Midjourney, and I try to make it funny. I try to make it cartoons. I'm still trying to, I'm by no means a master of Midjourney. I don't let it take me more than 10 minutes to create that image. I don't want it to be perfect. I don't want it to be overthinked. I just want it to be fun for people who are on my email list to receive my little AI image inside the email and to have a little bit of a giggle. So I would then, go to Midjourney and add a few things there. And I want to add that ChatGPT works great for all of this as well. So if you're just starting out and you're like, okay, Salome, you've mentioned 700 different tools here today. Can I just use ChatGPT? By all means. That is what makes ChatGPT at this stage the leader in AI, is that it's kind of a jack of all trades, right? Jack of all trades and a master of none. You can use ChatGPT for all of these things, and I often do. I do find ChatGPT to be a little glitchy at times. The other day I was sitting down to do something and the entire day it wasn't working. Now, it was during this 12 days of Christmas, so I know they were making lots of big updates and changes in the back end, and I have enough experience with Facebook ads that I know as soon as the ads manager becomes glitchy, they're working on it. So I just went to another tool. But by all means, if you're thinking, I can't manage all of this content, I'm just going to go with ChatGPT, you can do all of this. So you can do all your research, you can do customer avatar stuff, you can ask it to recognize patterns. You cannot upload the volume of content that you can upload to Notebook in ChatGPT, but you can definitely use one old episode of a podcast or a blog post and ask ChatGPT to give you a different take on it, or to rewrite it, with a different structure of some kind, so that you can refresh that content. The magic happens when you learn to combine all these tools strategically and based on your own needs and your own desires for content and for publication volume as well. So I even sat down one day with I think it was with ChatGPT, and asked ChatGPT to help me come up with a better project management system in Monday to simplify my own project management. I realized that when I had a larger team, we would record every micro step. There'd be a checkbox for every micro step of the whole podcast production process. And now that it's just me and a handful of other people, I find that it's a time waster to have to come and record single thing you do. We have an SOP and you follow the SOP, and the only thing that needs to be checked off is whether or not the thing has moved to the next stage. And so instead of spending hours and hours trying to figure out how to recreate the Monday board, I use Monday as my project management tool. I just asked ChatGPT to give me the structure of a Monday board that will allow me to do this, and that. And it did. It was really helpful. So here's your action step for today. I want you to choose just one content pillar in your business and go to Notebook LM and analyze your existent content around that topic. So if you have YouTube videos, you can link to those. If you have transcripts of episodes, you can link to that. You can upload that. You can really upload a large volume of work into Notebook LM. And then look for patterns in how you speak about that content pillar, and ask it to help you identify what questions keep coming up. This simple step will give you at least 5 content ideas that you can develop using the system that I shared with you today. The future isn't about AI creating content for you. It is about AI helping you create more of what you already can create and what is already in your voice. Now, I would love to hear about your favorite AI tool and how you're using it in your business. So email me, podcast@thelaunchlounge.com, and share your experience. Thank you so much for tuning in to the episode today. Please join me again on January the 7th, when I'll be sharing the 5 AI lead gen hacks that actually close deals. Until then, keep sharing your magic with the world and keep building your freedom empire. Bye. If you want an easy way to build an audience that is ready to buy without wasting money or pulling your hair out trying to work the tech, Then get the free 5-day Facebook and Instagram ads training now. In just 5 days, you'll learn how to set up high-converting list-building ads, navigate the ads manager like a pro, and master the exact formula through profitable ad spend. No fluff, no guesswork, just proven strategies that work. The best part? This comprehensive video training is completely free, and you'll get lifetime access to our brand new 2025 edition as soon as it launches. Ready to transform those scary ad campaigns into your most powerful lead generation tool? Head over to thelaunchlounge.com/getmyAdUp or click the link in the show notes. Don't wait, your future customers are scrolling through their news feeds right now.